doing things. So this is my current and ongoing research. I'm a teacher of geography at Bradford Grammar School, and for the last 4 or so years, I have been, as the first mistake, I've been doing a part-time PhD at the IOE. I'm teaching 70% timetable. I'm doing my part-time PhD alongside other writing, etc. And my title is Ideas of Human Progress in the Secondary Geography Curriculum. And I've got a few bits of initial analysis, but mainly this talk is about the whole project itself. So a bit of context to this idea of human progress. Well, positionality is a big thing I've become more aware of, and I know I have an optimistic personality, and it contrasts with surveys showing a belief that the world is getting worse. And in the 2010s, I was teaching, and I was become more aware initially via Bob Lang's article in the Teaching Geography, and via chat around Hans Rosling and Gapminder, and he found there was widespread underestimation of this, the extent of so-called progress made in many dimensions of human well-being, such as life expectancy and such as deaths from natural disasters. And what really piqued my interest, and I really wanted to take this apart, was Hans and his son Ola said, this is because of bias, psychological bias, because of media having negative pressure, and also he blamed education. And these are the exact words he used in that talk. Teachers tend to teach outdated worldviews because they learned something when they went to school, and now they describe this world to students without any bad intentions. And those books, of course, that are printed are outdated in a world that changes, and there is really no practice to keep the teaching material up to date. This got me thinking, right, there is practice, but I want to try and look and see what practice there is. A few other things. In this fast-paced world, one of my ideas is that longer trends seem to have less salience, and more short-term things tend to have more salience. And I wanted to probe teachers and students about this. There's ideas about eco-anxiety and worries about the world. There's increased interest in the role of hope in education. Maria Ojala has done some work on that. And in my literature review, I found that some work had been done on this idea of progress by David Livingston in the early 2000s, John Hopkin, a previous GA president, who used it as a theme for his 2011 talk. And then there's been work from Rutger Bregman on the idea that we've been harsh on humankind, and we should be more. We should realise that we are more kind than harsh. Psychology, for the work of Daniel Kahneman, etc., and this big growth of big picture literature has also interested me as well. Okay, they're my research questions. I want to look at teachers and students and how teachers interpret ideas of progress, and also how geography students form ideas of progress. Bit of reflection, I think my literature review should have included a formal textual analysis rather than just being a literature review. That's my initial self-critique. And that took quite a while. There's a lot of theory out there. This whole idea of progress is a contested term. And what I did generally was I interviewed a geography teacher. I watched 1 or 2 of their lessons on something pertaining to progress, be it development or sustainable development, etc. And I conducted a focus group interview with the students in that class. And I returned, I did another interview, another focus group, and then coming up in the next couple of months will be, I'll present my initial analysis, and I will then ask them to say, have I reflected on your findings accurately enough? And that's something I picked up from Chris from her presentation a couple of years ago. The idea that we can't just take the research findings ourselves, we should feed them back the initial findings and give our research subjects a chance to have a second word to us. Okay, some very initial, really tentative findings is that teachers are happy with the idea of progress, but not as the idea of there being a final goal, but this idea of moving forward, they tend to accept. Geography should be about change and progress in the future, but that progress and development is neither linear nor universal. They're aware of the complexity, and they believe that their students should be aware of their world, know their power and agency towards the future, and their students should make a difference. They also talk about current specifications constraining the scope for discussion about progress in the future. And some of them mention that geography can be seen as a doom and gloom subject. Okay, I have to finish now, but there's a few ideas there. Research is ongoing. I'm not going to present any analysis about what the students think because my time is up, and I'm happy to talk to you one-on-one